He stopped and hunkered in the corner, his eyes glazed with tears, his stomach in tatters. Candles flickered on the table next to the bed, and Ophelia muttered under her breath as she slit Lily's pure white skin. It took Josiah a minute to realize that the woman was praying. Perdóneme Dios. Forgive me, God. After making a long cut down the center of the stomach, Ophelia motioned for Josiah to come to her. I will need your help, senor. Josiah's knees and hands were trembling. He could not look at Lily's lifeless face or bring himself to speak. The words, I can't, were stuck in his throat. Pronto, senor. Ophelia shook her head with frustration and mumbled a curse word under her breath. The knife tumbled to the floor. Josiah had never seen so much blood in his life. He wanted to scream at the Mexican woman and make her stop, but he knew she was doing the right thing. The baby deserved a chance to live. Lily would want him to fight, to do whatever was necessary to save their child. Slowly, Josiah made his way to the side of the bed. Ophelia took his hands gently into hers and guided them into Lily's belly. I am sorry, senor. This must be done to save your baby. You must pull back the skin with all your strength. Josiah took a deep breath, fighting back the bile that was rising from the depths of his throat. In a swift motion, Ophelia thrust her hands deep inside Lily, tussled and turned her arms, and just as quickly pulled a nearly lifeless baby up and out of the body. She placed the baby, all covered in blood and dark blue as a stormy summer sky, on the bed and cut the cord. Josiah staggered back as Ophelia swatted the baby on the behind. Nothing happened. It looked dead. She swatted again, and again nothing. Finally, she blew into the baby's mucus-covered mouth and smacked the baby on the back, just between the shoulder blades. The baby coughed and heaved and began to cry. You have a son, senor. You have a son. Chapter 1. Josiah Wolfe sat atop his Appaloosa stallion, Clipper, and watched a rooter skunk push through a dry creek, searching for anything that moved or anything that held the slightest hint of green. The skunk, black with a broad white stripe down its back and a nose that looked like it ought to be on a hog, didn't see the 4-foot-long diamondback rattlesnake sunning itself on the bright side of a big boulder a few yards ahead of it. Wolfe rubbed the butt of his gun, a .45 single-action Peacemaker, then thought better of interfering. He'd wait it out and see what happened next, though his betting side told him not to count out the skunk. He gently edged the stallion back up the trail so he'd be downwind when all hell broke loose. The snake hissed and wiggled its tail, setting its alarm in motion, but that didn't seem to deter the hog-nose. In the blink of an eye, the skunk recoiled and, without warning, jumped straight at the snake, capturing it just behind the eyes with a determined set of iron jaws. There was no time for the snake to spit or smell the foul stink that escaped from the skunk's defensive gland. Without so much as a shiver, the reptile succumbed with no chance of a fair fight, its head smashed flatter than a Johnny cake. The rattle quickly subsided, a tiny echo in the wind like the last bell ringing on a funeral coach. Josiah had little use for snakes or skunks, and even less for their human counterparts. And if it wasn't for one such critter, Charlie Langdon, he'd be home right now, readying the hard ground for planting even though the dry north winds had yet to stop blowing. Winter had been slow to let go, and spring was hesitant to come on fully. Not that winter was much of a worry in East Texas. Not like in the Dakotas, but the wind still raged cold and fierce at times, and the leaves still fell off the trees. Once in a blue moon, snowflakes fell from the sky on Christmas.